stop it from being traded.
Right.
And so there's a derivative, and then if there's liquidity bonding the prices together, so if, let's say you have Chainlink on Ethereum, and then after launch, price bounces around a while, but I bet that over time that these prices will move similarly.
Right.
I think that the Link ticker on Pulsechain is likely to move similarly to the Link ticker on Ethereum.
Right. Just because of the bridge, right? And
well, because they're bonded by the liquidity.
Right.
And then it's the same code with the same ticker. Now, do you want to pay $100 or $300 to trade it on Ethereum, or do you want to pay a penny to trade it over here? And we already know this answer because they're doing it on other networks as well.
Yeah.
People do trading on alternate networks, and then we're the one that you don't like. Your coins are already here. You don't even have to bridge over. Right. You already got your free coins here. You can already access them by changing one setting in your MetaMask. It's awesome.
Dude, it sounds
well.
It sounds pretty awesome.
Well, that's the trick. That's the magic. Is you launch this whole network with all these new coins. How do you get those new coins to be valuable?
Right.
But by not letting anyone ever stop the trading, by having the same tickers, and by giving people a reason to back the value of the things they got free,
right?
By rewarding them with a yield farming token. It's like a giant vampire attack, basically. It's a giant vampire attack.
Hey everybody, woo! Welcome back, and I think the voice is almost back. Not 100%, but I don't know. You decide 95, let's say. Cool. We're now the title of the video: SEC versus Richard Hart, Pulsechain, PulseX, and Hex. Who would have thought? But SEC is creative, so we're going to talk about that. And of course, President Trump dropping a whole ton of alpha bombs at the Bitcoin conference. We're going to pick up on a little bit of that later on with a cool video excerpt of President Trump talking about that. So it's going to be fun. We got Lights Beneath in the house. How are you today? Very, very good. We got Hex, PulseX incentive for the 100%. That is the golden crypto maxi strategy of this channel. Represent. And we got Knox Bill in the house there. Good to see you, Knox Bill. Hope you're doing well. We got Craig Pitt in the house. Morning all. Good to see you, Craig. Welcome. We got Eddie Hadvina in the house there. Hex Token channel member. Big shout out. I appreciate the support. Gary Gensler will be fired in RH for the win, says Eddie. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. That is coming up. Get into the chat there, folks. Say hello. Get lively. And man. We're going to look at the charts today as well. So that's some of our topics for coverage. We got Hexvader in the house there. Howdy. Good to see Hexvader. Crypto Fury in the house there. Hello. Quite a few of the syndicate members in the house today. A big shout out to everybody in the syndicate on Mafia, on Pulsechain, or Pulse Mafia as they say. Big shout out to all you guys. Keep up the great work. You guys really are doing a great job. Fire Gary says Crypto Fury, LFG. All right, let's get into it, folks. Let's get into the markets, and let's start off with the general crypto. Obviously, no stock market today because it's Sunday in the US, but we do have a almost green day. Look at that. Bitcoin at the moment, $68,301, up 0.5% at the moment. Bitcoin dominance, man, that's strong. 54.47%. Man, remember we were down at like 52, under 52. We're at 54.47 at the moment, so pretty crazy stuff there. We got Ethereum at the moment is at $3,273, up 0.64%, and those are kind of the leaders there. Now Solana is up slightly. What's it? 0.4%, $184. What else is looking interesting? BNB up pretty similar amount at $584 there. Some of the other leaders there. XRP up 0.8% at 60 cents. Tron at the moment up 1%, 13.8 cents. Which seems to not really go not very far in terms of the price range for Tron. It sits around there. We do have a lot of negative ones. ADA down 2.4%. Litecoin down 0.25% there as well. Matic down, what's that? 1.66% on Matic. We have a few of the other leaders down today. That leads us into the old Bitcoin chart. And of course, here we are with the chart here looking pretty good, actually, isn't it? Now, people are still very bullish. Was it Tom Lee, the big analyst that got the S&P call right last year? He's still talking about 150K Bitcoin by the end of this year. So I think we're going to get that hyper rally that we're expecting. So keep a lookout for that. We're currently, just ending July. So August, September, October is kind of when I'm really calling the full-on move. It's going to get very bullish in October, of course. And then we've got interest rate pivots potentially September and stuff like that. So yeah, we've still got quite a few bullish news. We'll probably get the Ethereum ETFs and Bitcoin ETFs start ramping up again as well. And we've seen some pretty good diamond hands with a lot of that stuff actually. So that is where we are at the moment. So 200-day moving average sitting at 59,362. Bitcoin 50-day EMA is at 64,252, but we're well above that at 68,175, sitting very well for a move to try and target 100K and maybe even 150K by the end of the year. So that is looking very, very cool. And Tom Lee particularly bullish about that. He was the only analyst that called the S&P 500 correctly last year. And so fingers crossed he's going to call the Bitcoin one target as well. We know that maybe into 2025, I think Richard Hart's probably putting his call in there, 220, I think it was. Was it 240? I think it was 240 possibly for the top of the move. So we shall see where that all lands. But at the moment, things are looking really, really, really good. And we've managed to defend that 63,500 mark there. So this is very bullish so far for Bitcoin. Right, where does it lead us? Interest rate pivots on the 18th September. That is ticking away. So how many days away is that? 50 days, let's say, away until the interest rate pivot. And that's looking pretty much a dead cert from the market point of view. And then the US election following in after that, right? So US election, 5th of November, that is 99 days away, less than 100 days. Woo-hoo. Bring it on, bring it on. So that is kind of cool. Now, we've got a pivot here for interest rates in November, but I think we're going to get it September there. That's probably going to be the play. All right, that's going to maybe help September. September normally a bit of a negative month, but of course we're in a Bitcoin halving year, so we've got a bit more bullish environment. And of course, looking at the Bitcoin halving history, you can see the vertical green line is the Bitcoin halving. So this is the 2012 one here, the 2016 one here, and of course the 2021 here, and of course the latest one, the 2024 one right here at the vertical greens. And you can see that typically we get through the halving and, you know, a bit slow out the gate there the first couple of months, and then a big rally. And then, of course, 2016, a little bit of slow gate there, a little bit of depreciation there into the late months. In fact, the 2016 one's so similar in time zone to the one that we've got at the moment. It's kind of a cool thing there. So we got halving in July, and then it wasn't really until we got to, October, the end of October, we started rallying up and had that hyper rally. As you guys all remember, that was fantastic, wasn't it? To remember, if you guys remember that, it was spectacular just to see it go up. Really, really amazing. And then it came down the other side. Now, I remember in this period here, 2019, there were so many scams out, in crypto, website scams, offering people ridiculous returns and taking their money. A lot of, Russian scammers and all sorts of stuff out there were doing stuff. And then, of course, we've come into the 2020 halving here. And, of course, we had a couple of months, a bit of volatility, bit of a pump, a pullback, and then a big rally there as well. And the cool thing about this time zone is very similar to this 2024. We had the halving in May, and, of course, took a few choppy months. And then by the time we got to October again, you can see October repeating theme, and then the big rally. So this is why I think October is looking really, really hot based on history and the good news that we're expected looking forward, as we can see in the Bitcoin chart. So around the interest rate pivots in US election, particularly if we get a Trump with a crypto-friendly president. So looking really, really good there. Now that leads us into this year, obviously 2024, and we can see that we're still having a little bit of that choppiness around, right? And that might continue on a bit longer, maybe through September, and then of course October they're picking up for the upside and get some of these big hyper rallies that we've seen before in the past. Yeah, bring it on. And that 150K Tom Lee's talking about by the end of the year. So you got to be pretty bullish. Obviously, we're in a bit of a sell the news event at the moment, but looking forward to that. And of course, the first time we're going to have meme coin seasons on Bitcoin too. And as you guys know, at the moment, the top meme is Dogecoin, sitting at just under $19 billion. That trillion would be really cool. $1 billion. And they're all down at the moment. Look, so all the meme coins are down. Look at that, 7%, some leaders. If you get further back down here, you got double-digit downs for the last week. These are weekly returns. Yeah, so down. But we're picking dog for the moon, right? Dog, first meme coin, number one meme coin on Bitcoin to take over at some stage in the future. And of course, the number of holders of dog continues to go up. I think it just hit 69,000. So they're going up quite fast, actually, about 200 plus a day at the moment, which is really bullish for dog. That's their number 16. And of course, dog is a rune, right? So it's on the runes protocol, which launched at the Bitcoin halving. So they're going to be bullish about that. So at the moment, a beautiful entry for picking up dog and some of these other meme coins as well, amongst the top leaders there. So that is pretty much it on the Bitcoin, looking pretty bullish. And of course, Ethereum at the moment is somewhere between the 200-day and the 50-day. We got $3,287 at the moment, right in between the 50-day and the 200-day. 200-day at 3,129, the 50-day at 3,350, and we're at 3,283 at the moment. It's just sitting there waiting to moon. Now, the thing about Ethereum, it hasn't even hit its all-time high yet, right? So $4,900. The last move that we had back in March, we got to 4,100. So still got a lot of potential upside there. Now, we know that a lot of activity has moved over into the second layer protocols. But of course, they have a lot. They're kind of centralized, really. They're not real DeFi second layers, are they? And of course, but the activities moved there anyway. So it's just the way it goes. Like base optimism, Arbitrum, and things like that. But yeah, it's still looking pretty good in terms of pricing up the rally once we get a price move on. Right, you don't need necessarily network use to just determine a value of those tokens. So that's something that people get wrong. We just need to get the trend as your friend and the money starts flowing and we get a big rally. So just remember, a lot of ETH is actually stuck in a lot of DeFi protocols, staking in particular. Yeah, it's going to be fun to see this play out. The ETH ETF, after the conversion process, we'll be having, of ETH, will end up, pumping more money in there because it had a really good start as we've looked at before. So that's going to look good as well. So bring it on. I think everything's looking pretty good. Let's go to, we're going to go to Pulsechain and talk about that. Before we do that, though, let's get into the chat there and see who else has jumped in. We're going to be looking at some of the good news for Pulsechain potentially around the SEC versus Richard Hart. So stay tuned for that discussion. Who else has jumped in here? We got Sandy Beach in the house. Hey, Sandy Beach, hope you're doing well. Hello, Hex Token, everybody. Big shout out to Sandy Beach there. Back from holiday and birthday time as well. So Sandy's really been partying it up like it's 1994. I don't know, 1995. I don't know. So you tell me, Sandy. Right, what else we got going there? We got Wookie in the house there. Good to see you, Wookie. I don't know what his comments are saying, but Wookie is here, never fear. All right, so let's get back into it. We're going to get into Pulsechain, talk about SEC versus Richard Hart and all that. So we got Pulsechain day 443. We got Pulse at the moment, quadruple 0456, down 3.5% at the 46% of the mean sacrifice price. So what we're sitting up around 50%. We're just obviously come down again from there. PulseX at the moment, quadruple 0245, down 3.72%, sitting at 24.5% of the mean sacrifice price. The buy and burn keeps going up. 930.8 billion PulseX has been bought up and burned. That is now 4.6% of the public supply, 4.6% of the public supply. And that's just sitting in the background day after day doing its thing, that buy and burn. So part of the superior tokenomics of the Pulsechain, PulseX ecosystem. We got incentive token at the moment down 4.18%, $2.55. Now, obviously, 3.5% of that is the Pulse price coming down, and the ratio has dropped slightly as well, down just below 56,000 Pulse, but still holding up in a really, really strong zone for the INC. And we've got 37.2 million, apparently, INC in here, if this number is correct. So there we go. That is where we are at the moment, and it won't go away. It's go away. Go away. So go away. I said go away. That's not going away. All right. So we got Hex at the moment is at just above 5,800 of a penny on Hex on Pulsechain. We are down 3.6% at the moment, and EHEX is sitting at 1,300 of a penny. That's up slightly, actually, from 1,200 of a penny. We got combined price of EHEX and PX just over 0.7 of a penny. So still a bargain for Hex at the moment. Still a bargain to pick up. In fact, it's the the second best performer today, isn't it, out of all the Richard Hart tokens. So that's pretty much where we are at the moment on the old Hex. Let's have a look at the Pulsechain, and we're going to talk about Richard Hart versus the SEC, or the SEC versus Richard Hart, Pulsechain, PulseX, and Hex. And of course, let's look at that. A direct challenge by the SEC against DeFi with regards to Pulsechain. And as we all know, that the SEC is focused on destroying investor value, right? That's what they do. They go across everywhere, and they've been basically destroying investor value all over the place. And that's kind of, you would think it was the opposite of what they're supposed to be doing, but apparently not, right? They love doing the, and if they do take money off people, right, they don't give it back, right? So that's the other side of it, right? So it looks like a bit of a con job, and it rightly is, right? That's what we're dealing with at the moment. So anyways, let's look at Pulsechain on the daily. We've got the RSI sitting really nice. Cool. We had that big run, and we've had our pullback, and the RSI is now cooled off, right? It got almost overbought and is now cooled off at 48. So ready for another go. Now, the question is, did we have a much better play with this rally, right? So we've come down even a bit further yesterday, which has taken a bit of the shine off. Let's have a look at the fib and see exactly where we landed. With Pulsechain. That's not the fib. Get lost. All right. Come on. Let's do this right. Fib there. Not fib channel, but fib. We want a Fibonacci. That's any did the fib channel there. Let's go full mode. Is that full mode? Oh, we're already in full mode. What have I done? What have I done? This is a calamity. It's a calamity of justice. All right, let's try this one more time. Bear with me, folks. We're having a bit of a crazy time. What am I'm on Solid X now. How the heck did I get on Solid X? Come on. This is we're going crazy here right now. We're going crazy. All right, so malfunction on the live stream. Quick, rug the influencer. Take them off. All right, so there we go. Let's get into some serious business now, and we're going to full screen that. All right, so here we go. So we came all the way down. We got all the way down low here. We're sitting at quadruple zero 3,674 on Pulse. We had that big, nice rally all the way into the 20th of July, and we got all the way up to quadruple zero 5,300. So a really nice move. We've come back. Normally, I was hoping we were going to defend the 38.2. We were looking good for it, but yesterday we had, obviously following that sell the news event there for the President Trump at the SEC and all sorts of stuff, and we have had a negative day, and we got all the way down to 4,450. But we've managed to bounce back to 4,566 now. But we have bounced off the 50 at the moment on the fib. So fingers crossed we can hold that 50. Would have been even more bullish with the 38, but hey, 50, we'll take that. Often charts will come back down to the 60, 61.8, which would have been 4,300. We haven't got there yet. Fingers crossed, the higher we are, the better this move will be for the upside. But we are getting that cool off in the RSI, right? So moving to the RSI again, we're sitting down there at 48. So fingers crossed for that. We've got lots of room to move on the weekly. So let's go to the weekly. The weekly RSI is 37.5. So we've got a lot of room to move to the upside and lots of good news, right? So let's get into the good news because I think the next thing we've got here is Richard Hart, right, versus the SEC. So we can see RH response to the SEC motion to dismiss. That's our first thing, right? That is the thing that, hopefully Richard's got the dream team of lawyers, and we want to get rid of the SEC just by dismissing their case on merit, right? So fingers crossed that they could do that. I think they've got a very good chance in my view, but you just never know with the judge and everything else. And so we'll see how we get on there. I think the case is the case is pretty weak. I mean, you're talking about taking on Pulsechain, PulseX, and Hex as well as Richard Hart. I mean, it just seems pretty much nonsense. You base the case on one person in New York that out of a pit to a bit of a chip on their shoulder. So I just think a lot of that stuff very weak. And then I think there's obviously a lot of constitutional and jurisdiction issues there to be dealt with as well. So we'll see where that all lands. But I think that I can kind of see the Richard Hart response thing here on the 19th of August being quite a good thing for the Pulsechain. So hopefully we'll be able to get a nice little rally into that. May even get some magic couple ride behavior around here as well. We shall see whether that occurs. But that's coming up as well there. And this is on the weekly time frame. So looking forward to that. That is kind of where we are at the moment. And of course, we've obviously got a good news from that. So that is in August. 9th of August. And then, of course, that is coming up. And then we've got, obviously, after that in October, the oral arguments, right? So we obviously had the SEC response here back on the 8th of July. And, of course, that was private. And then, obviously, we have Richard Hart's response. Now, obviously, people can put in their own amicus briefs as well. Richard Hart called for that. Remember, get out there and do your own amicus briefs, because it's really, crypto and DeFi defending itself against the SEC's, expanded scope. And of course, that is the battle that's going on there. So if you are going to do an amicus brief, get out there and do that for third parties, right? To be able to get out there and maybe raise some new issues. The other thing is in October, we've got obviously the oral arguments is kind of the wrapping up both these two steps here. And we'll see what happens in the market with that. It may be viewed as a positive thing. So that is business as usual, right? So this is a business as usual process. Obviously, if they lose that oral arguments, then we're moving into next year, right? March to June. We've got information discovery. So that's if the dismiss argument fails, we'll be moving into information discovery, which would be a can of worms, right? For all the stuff. So with Richard Hart. So we shall see where that goes. Now, that's into March, June next year. But of course, we had bullish news come from the president. And if he does win the election on the 5th of November, he's going to be doing something very positive, not just for crypto. Potentially, this will have big ramifications for the SEC case versus Richard Hart and Pulsechain and PulseX and X. And so let's hear from the President Trump there, President 45, maybe President 47, right? So let's get into it.
I'm sworn in, the persecution stops and the weaponization ends against your industry. And as long as I'm in the Oval Office, Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas, do you remember? Yes, I'm an Indian. Yes, she said, I'm an Indian. Why are you an Indian? You don't look like an Indian. No, my mother told me I have high cheekbones. Oh, that's why she was an Indian. So I named her Pocahontas. Elizabeth Warren and her goons, and she's very nasty to you. She hates your people. She hates everything about you. Will keep their hands off Bitcoin. They're going to keep their hands off crypto. They're going to let it grow. We're going to let it grow. On day one, I will fire Gary Gensler and appoint a new SEC chairman.
So day one there, firing Gary Gensler, and of course their little crazy lawfare against all of crypto. And of course, they really hate freedom, all that sort of stuff, those guys. So this is super positive. Just getting rid of the leader, change of guard. So exciting first announcement there.
I didn't know he was that unpopular. Well, I didn't know he was that unpopular. Let me say it again. On day one, I will fire Gary Gensler. Whoa. And we'll appoint a new SEC chairman who believes America should build the future, not block the future, which is what they're doing.
So that last comment, really important, right? Appointing a new chairman that wants to build the future, not block the future. And that means they could very much review all the cases, which is probably what they'll do, and that they've got against different entities in crypto. And they may end up dropping most, if not all of them. So that could be really positive. If so, let's assume that we don't win the dismissal case, which I think we have a good case for. But once again, we'll have to see what the courts decide by that and by October. And then, of course, Richard does have a dream team of lawyers to do that. So it's not like he doesn't have the best trying to do that. But let's assume that we lose that, then and Trump does win the election, and this looks like the polls looking good for that for November 5th. Then by January, when the new administration comes in, they'll make very quick removals, and we could see that by maybe by February, we could see a new SEC administration, new approach to crypto, moving towards proper regulation rather than lawfare. And of course, then we weigh that the case may get dropped. And therefore, if assuming the dismissal case didn't happen in October, then the information discovery between March and June will get dropped. If the case gets dropped and the SEC withdraws. So that's kind of the bullish case there. And it was made even better here today, big time by Trump's at the Bitcoin conference. And as you see, people at the Bitcoin conference were overjoyed about the potential removal of Gary Gensler there should Trump win the presidency. So kind of bullish. Now, we do know that Trump's got a lot of people pro-crypto now behind him, around him, people like Vivek, Ramaswamy and all that. So it is really moving in the right direction. We saw also a lot of crypto influencers at Mar-a-Lago a little while back asking Trump about all this, and he confirmed all the stuff that he had just changed his mind on crypto and moved more positive about the future of it. So and now is putting some policy positions behind that, which is super bullish, not only for crypto, but particularly potentially for the Pulsechain SEC versus Rich Hard, which is pretty bullish. It's really lifting the outlook for the Pulsechain. We've got a few people in the house there. Good to see. So let's say hello to a few people first before we move on. I'll talk about PulseX. We've got Sandy Beach is 1999. And we got heading to another vacation at the end of August, says Sandy. So Sandy is really living the dream right now. Archie's in the house there. Hi all, good to see Archie, the head of the Don, the syndicate. Big shout out to you, Archie. Thank you so much for your service. We've got Ben Miller in the house there. Hi everybody, good to see you, Ben. Hope you're doing well. Feel my pulse says that RH Twitter is down at the moment. Is it? I might check that a bit later. We got Hex Raider says buy more Hex. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm on it, says Hex Raider. Yeah. A lot of smart people in the retail book picking up that cheap Hex at the moment for the next big move. We got Russ in the house. Hi, everybody. Good to see you, Russ. Welcome. And we got Empty Corner there, member for 22 months. Woo! Well, that's got you're definitely one of the longest members there, Empty Corner. Big shout out and appreciate support. As a Hex Token channel member, big shout out for that. And 22 months, woo, that is some decent time. Sandy Beach is in the house there. I may go to Vegas again in October or November, maybe, says Sandy there. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas there, Sandy. Just remember that. All right. Sandy's like, nothing's going to happen. It's going to happen. We got Hex Creator says, nothing finer than a Hex miner. Absolutely. Accumulate. The old Hex. Good to see everybody, says Empty Corner. Likewise. Who else has jumped in here? We're going to go through all those comments. And Empty Corner says, I love President Trump. Yeah, doing a great job. He really, apart from the bullishness of crypto, he really is the last person to maintain our freedoms. We can already see that the Democrats have been trying to remove all the freedoms, undermine the Constitution. We could see that all the similar parties across the world that are like Labour parties are trying to remove free speech. I don't know if you've seen that in the UK. The Labour Party is looking to remove the free speech bills. And of course, they moved to tyranny, right? So that's the thing. It's always the side that says the other side is doing it that's projecting, right? So pretty bad. We already saw the big UK uniting rally that was on yesterday, and Tommy Robinson being arrested under the, I think it was the 2000 terrorist act. I mean, it's just insane. This is insanity, and it just shows you that the Labour Party are basically socialists and globalists that want to remove freedom and control the population, right? So that's the we were getting there. We're getting madness like that, arresting Tommy Robinson for a uniting a UK mark, a patriotic march there as well, and of course also regarding his documentary about exposing some of the groomers in society doing their terrible things. So it's just goes to show you we're really up to the battle for freedom and the greatest societies of all time defending itself from these tyrannies is really real. And probably Trump's he's definitely, I mean, it's without a doubt the last person that can stop that and start unraveling some of it by removing deep state and breaking down some of the global agreements that are looking to remove our freedoms. It's real, folks. It's so insidious. We already saw the Olympic Games with a terrible attack on Christianity and the Last Supper. Absolute abomination. And of course, all we got from the Olympic Committee was more lies about apologizing. are really just more lies. And so really they're trying to basically indoctrinate and groom the people. And so the people have to stand up. If the people don't stand up, they will be controlled, and they will have to submit. So it's a fight in the West, but it's also a fight that's going to be more global as well. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? And the irony isn't lost on us that the generation that fought World War II have all passed away for the most part. And look, the world's already forgotten. The world's already forgotten the hard lesson learned in World War II, and they've already forgotten. Remember that lest we forget, that people have forgotten already. Not everybody, of course, just the socialists and globalists, and they're moving us back to tyranny. In the West. So who are the good guys now? That's all you got to ask, right? So I lost sleep for a week after they took a shot at him. Oh, no, you didn't, says Empty Coiner. We got Excavator and House there. That statement and the crowd reaction brought tears to my eyes, says Excavator. Yeah, it was beautiful, wasn't it? Really, really huge. The people loved it when he said that. It was a pretty good speech. I mean, I thought some of the positions there, we also saw a couple of senators also push for the strategic reserve. Trump also talked about a Bitcoin strategic reserve with the little Bitcoin they've got so far, which I think is over 200,000 Bitcoin, not selling that. And he says, I think the best line, besides getting rid of Gary Gensler, was the never sell your Bitcoin. I love that. I thought that was really, really good. If you haven't seen that, I did post the full video on the channel, so you can check out that full speech. Bear market, PSTT for sure, says Excavator. RH will prevail versus SEC, says Sandy Beach. I like it. Trump is thinking these crypto guys go hard. Yeah, well, they were certainly partying there as well. But it just shows you how far that crypto's come when you've got a former president there, maybe the next president. It comes to the Bitcoin conference. It just shows you how much Bitcoin has developed, right? How crypto's developed. We've had the Bitcoin ETF on the 10th of January this year. We now had the Ethereum ETF, and now we've got presidents speaking at the Bitcoin conference. We've got nation states trying to buy Bitcoin. The first movers are going to have the biggest move, right? And of course, there can only be one or two sovereign nations with a critical $1 trillion position in Bitcoin. So whoever moves first is going to win that game, right? So kind of cool. Remember, Bitcoin's limited. I mean, you can always pick up Satoshis, but it's definitely a lot better than gold. I mean, there's always gold's relatively limited, but there's always people mining more gold. So Bitcoin itself is limited. So, and that's true for a lot of other quality cryptos, right? Wookie for the SEC chair, says Wookie. I don't know about that, Wookie. That's probably pushing it. That's probably pushing it. What else there? Let's jump down to some of these things here. Empty Coin says Vivek is an all-American savage. Yeah, he's doing a good job. I have a feeling that he might end up being the guy that pulls down the deep state. I think he might get appointed to I don't know, the FBI or CIA or something like that. It's going to be pretty interesting in the cabinet should President Trump win. And I think he's pretty keen to pull down the deep state. You have to fire a lot of people. You have to restructure, fire a lot of people to do that. But man, it can be done. It can be done. You might need a lot of Secret Service to protect you and some special forces, but you can do it. You can do it. What else there? We got Tin Top in the house there. What's up, Hexkins? Hey, Tin Top. Hey, my voice can do that again. I'm back. Tin Top. Look at that. I can just nail that out there. Brennan says, I'm running like an Olympian at the airport, to the airport terminal, says Brennan. Well, I hope you catch the plane there in Melbourne, isn't it? Melbourne, Brennan. Happy trails. I hope that you won big at the casino last night, was it? I hope you did well. Let's see what else we got here. Crypto Fury says Trump was basically like HODL. Says Crypto Fury. That's right. That's exactly right. Well said. That would have been funny if he had said that, eh? That would have been funny if he had said that. All right, let's move on, folks, before we get too distracted by politics. But yeah, like I say, the Trump thing about SEC, bullish for Pulsechain, SEC, potentially another optionality there that may come in should we not win the dismissal, which I'm feeling good about, but should we not and move to information discovery. All right, so that is Pulsechain. And of course, they don't have any updated docs here from the court listener, which follows all the Richard Hart documents at the moment. So there's nothing else there at this stage, but other than what we know from Richard Hart. PulseX at the moment, man. PulseX still looking really good. I mean, it definitely pulled back further than I would have liked. because the higher the low, the more bullish. But the RSI has cooled off really nice at 52. So this is really good for another launch, for an upturn. So fingers crossed about that. We definitely had a bullish cross here. Has rolled over a little bit here, and we got PulseX down at low of 2,336. And it just bounced off, as you can see, the 34-day moving average here. So it's just bounced off that. So fingers crossed we hold that. Moving to the Fibonacci. Let's pull that up. Fibonacci here. Yeah, we're down. Yeah, we hit 50 again. Like Pulse hit 50 again there, and also bounced from the 34-day moving average. So that is the mark there at the moment. So a good place to bounce from. I would have loved to have been the 38, but we'll take the 50. It's definitely better than a 61.8. But in any case, we've got a very much stronger high here. You can still see we're up pretty decent from the support line. We're still up here 46%. We're 40% up, so not too bad. And we had that big rally. We got all the way 79% in that rally that we just had, and we're holding up for the first time, holding up really well. And you can see the previous times we had a little bounce. We kept getting sold down to a new low, but not this time. So far, we're holding up this new higher low, and that's what we want to do. And I think we're looking good for it, right? So let's see what happens there. And we'll see whether that August court case or reply from Richard Hart for the case to dismissal makes another rally higher here. Let's go to the weekly quickly on this one. PulseX, that is the big view, the long-term view. So PulseX looking really, really good. It's particularly against Pulse at the moment because the higher lows are very much intact. We've got this long-term trend intact. We've had a bullish cross on the daily, and we may get a weekly bullish cross, maybe in 2 or 3 weeks. We'll see. And yeah, looking pretty positive is the old PulseX there. Incentive token has been the talk of the town and still holding really, really strong. Look at that at the top of the range too. So everything looking pretty good here for INC. Hex at the moment, obviously. Let's have a look at that on the daily. We can see the RSI has cooled off down to 50 again. So really, really good place to rally from. And let's have a look at the chart here. Like I say, we actually bounced again on the 50. So all the charts bounced off the 50 on the Fibonacci. And here we are back up 5,800 of a penny. We did top out here at 7/10 of a penny after that big rally. That's kind of where we are at the moment. Let's get rid of that Fibonacci, and we can see that we got the 50-day down here at 5,600 of a penny, so that's good support. And what else we got going there? We're above the 34-day or 29-day. Actually, I just realized I got the wrong day on there. So it should be the 34. Let me just change that. Must have somehow done that something. Anyway, so we've got 34 there, and they converged the 50 and the 34. So yeah, and we had a bullish cross here back here on the 20th of July. So we're holding up a much higher low. We're all the way down, for goodness sake, down at 4,200 of a penny. Now we're at 5,800 pennies. So still extremely good buying for Hex right now. And I know the Hexcavator has been accumulating. So nice one, the Hexcavator. All the best for that. EHEX obviously has been the poorer cousin, just down here below 1,300 of a penny at the moment. So obviously good pick up there. All right, so that is the numbers there. Let's have a look at some of the rest of the markets on Pulsechain before we get into Pulse. We're going to talk about Pulse Mafia briefly. The Hex derivatives, the only one that's positive at the moment is Hedron on Ethereum, by 0.7% at the moment. Looking at stable coins, let's see here. Nothing really too much to talk about. PDI at the moment at 2,200 of a penny, and LUSD there 8,700 on LUSD. They're looking at the influencer coins. Only Trayvon's More token happens to be slightly positive, 0.1%. So not a lot happening there. Looking at the markets overall on Pulsechain, let's see what that looks like at the moment. We've got 8.8 million in weekly volume. Now, obviously, we want to get back over 25 million plus. So we're definitely down the low end here, 8.8 million, 127,000 transactions at the moment. We do have this affection token, seems to be up 54%. UFO is up 4.7%. Peach is up 3.7%. PDGC making a little more, 1.8%. That is kind of it for today. Not much happening there during this weekday volume. That's going to lead us into talking about Pulsechain, Pulse Mafia, I should say. But before we do that, let's have a look at the rest of the details. We've got 530,000 beats. That's actually quite high. 9/10 of a penny for a PulseX swap, 500th of a penny for a Pulse coin transfer, and 2/10 of a penny for a PRC20 transfer. The validators at the moment, 48,617 validators, 1.156 trillion Pulse is staked with the validators. And of course, the bridge, let's have a look here, 100 million. Woo! We just made it, folks. We just made it to $100 million. Oh, thank goodness for that. So there we go. And all we need is a bit of a pickup on EHEX. They're kind of dragging it down there because EHEX is only down at 1,200th of a penny or so. The PDI has dropped as well. We're at 29.3 million, I think it was. So we're down to 28.7. So we've obviously had some DI go back over the bridge. And then ETH is sitting there on the top. It's flipped DI at the top there at the moment. So obviously that's moving up slightly. So is the wrap Bitcoin moving up slightly. Those are positives. So, but the PDI definitely down there. So, but we're still holding on to 100 million. So we'll take that. And fingers crossed that we can start pushing this bridge number up as a health check for the rest of Pulsechain. That is where we are at the moment. And of course, we've just started day 444. Can you believe it? 444. All right. That's going to lead us into Pulsechain and Pulse Mafia. Before we get into that, though, let's say hello to a few more comments. Let's see where else has jumped in here. Great to see all the comments in the chat today. Fantastic. Love to see a live chat. Going off like cool people. Cool people. Power to the people. Let's see what else. We got Viva Las Vegas is excavator. Let's see what else. We got some more comments. Excavator says, Trump, you're fired. Yeah, to the deep state, you're fired. Man, I cannot believe people are not up in arms about some of the attacks on freedom around the world. People are definitely waking up and moving to the right side of politics. But man, oh man, they're going to lose it if these guys get away with anything. Yeah, it is real. The fight is real, unfortunately. We thought we were going to sit back and trust them, right? But you can't trust these guys. They've turned the world upside down. Wookie says Trump should do a reality White House firing show. Yeah, that would be hilarious of deep state. Yeah, it would be so funny. That would be pretty funny. What else we got going there? Have a good night, says Sanovich. You too. You have a good night too. All right, that's it on that. Let's get back into it. Let's get into Pulse Mafia. So Pulse Mafia at the moment, let's have a look here. We're going to have a look at the prices first. So Pulse Mafia doing pretty well. I mean, you can see that chart's looking pretty good. Now we're in phase 5 plus, as I call it. We've had the marketplace back here on the 22nd. We had Keys launch. We had Player and Family Plus launch on the 3rd of July. We had hidden inventory on the 10th of July. Allegiances on the 18th of July. So we are waiting for the phase 6, which is the map. It's a huge phase for Pulse Mafia and BNB Mafia. We are waiting for that. The chart's looking pretty good here on the old Pulse Mafia at the moment. We've got a liquidity of 163K, 1.7 million market cap. Volumes on the model side, 6.4 thousand, 36 makers at the moment. But the chart's holding up pretty well there at 1,700th of a penny at the moment. So it's a lot of potential upside for this chart with the big phase coming up the map. And that's going to be huge strategically. So kind of ticking away there on Pulse Mafia. On BNB, we just had a seller sell 6.3 million earlier today, about 4 hours ago. But really good entry here for Mafia at 1900. So there's a lot of potential upside. 45K liquidity, 190 market cap, 1.5K in volume, only 5 makers. But the chance to pick up a lot of Mafia right now is insane on BNB. You can pick up $1 million for less than $200 probably. So there we go. That is huge. There's only 1 billion, remember, in existence. And so, yeah, a good opportunity to pick up Mafia over there. If you're in the syndicate, definitely consider picking up some Mafia on BNB. Become a bit of a Mafia whale over there. Now, obviously, the activity is lower, but I think once the game starts, things could pick up quite a bit there. And a lot of opportunity to the upside, just to the sacrifice price, which is at 1,600th of a penny. There's a lot of upside to that, right? So we just take the quick move. There's 745% return there, or 8.5x. So if you're in the syndicate, maybe something to think about, accumulating a bit of that Mafia while it's cheap before somebody else does it, right? So potential big upside there. Also strengthens the family over on Mafia. Let's have a look at the Pulsechain side quickly. We're going to run through some of these numbers pretty quick. I'm going to probably do some more dedicated show on Mafia coming up. And, of course, the syndicate, the #1 family, which I am a part of. Big shout out to the Don and to the Capodicina, Max Payne, doing a great job out there, as well as all the capos and all the family members and all these families are doing a great job. So Syndicate there at the moment, number one, holding on, 446,000 worth, the most feared family on the whole of Mafia, and for good reason. The Don is incredibly intelligent and, of course, feared amongst all the families. We got the Gearheads at number two at 429,000 worth. That's got Gifford Ware and Crypto Kool-Aid in there, the game dev. And then we've got number three, the Salamanca's, run by Nunzio, the Whale, and of course it's 172,000. The Yakuza there sitting just below, might flip the Salamanca's. That's at number four there, 170,000 worth. Yakuza there, and of course finally number five there, the Hustlers. And of course this was set up by My Life is Awesome, Lick Gaines. Now these three families, the Syndicate, the Yakuza, and the Hustler, are all in an allegiance together. The first allegiance on Pulsechain, the Directorate, and of course that is dominating. So pretty awesome there. We shall see what happens in the future. Now we do know that the Gearheads got Player Plus, so congratulations to the Gearheads. They just reached Player Plus there, so congratulations to them on that. And then we've got all the rest of the families in the list there, all vying for a spot, right? So that is the play. Looking at the vault at the moment, we've got 4.7 billion. I'll repeat it, 4.7 billion Pulse. And that's $210,000 at the current price of Pulse. Obviously, it's moving around by thousands of dollars as Pulse price moves up and down. The vault's moving up and down in terms of thousands of dollars. That's how much Pulse is in there, 4.7 billion. Now, we do know that phase 11 of the launch is a 5 billion target for Pulse. But, of course, the question mark over that is the team going to be ready to launch because we could be there in a week at this rate with the Pulse going in there. I think we had $2,000 of keys be bought in the last 24 hours. Yeah, it could be get there quicker than sooner than later. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out as well. Obviously, people are buying crates. People are trading on the markets. And the markets have been very bustly. And we had 4,456 transactions, $185,000 in volume there. It is pretty crazy. And the market's been pretty vibrant. So is this the most active NFT market on Pulsechain, even more so than the 7 dedicated NFT marketplaces? Big question mark there, but it's certainly doing well with all the transactions, and the prices have moved up. Let's have a look at let's have a look at a level 3 gym, one of the bodyguards, and see what the market's been looking like for that. Current price is $8, but it was recently people were buying it for $17, $15. Some of the last trades, it's just dropped down to $8 now. And the cheapest one you can get at the moment is $19. So that was probably a bit of a fluke getting that $8 one. Lucky somebody that was lucky. Looks like Rocco and Sifu picked up one for $8 each. So a bit of fluctuation in the market for that. But there are deals to be made. Armored cars, let's look at those. Armored cars should be very highly valued. It looks like we've got a pretty much moving sideways around $80. There's only 159 of them in the game. And it looks like the cheapest one you can pick up at the moment is $77, but after that it gets much more expensive. So keep a lookout for that. Lots of things. So people are buying and selling these all the time. That's one way of making money in the game, with the game not even started yet. So kind of cool. Well, the game kind of started, but not started. So you can't kill anybody yet. Can't take over maps yet. That's coming up. So that's kind of cool at the moment, ticking away there. Let's have a look on the BNB side. I was just going to do a quick review of Mafia today, so we're not going to go too deep dive. We've got 878 players on the old Mafia side, 17 crime families, 124 BNB. So that's ticking away there. Lots of leaderboards. The families at the moment, OG Gangsters at number 1, 140,000 on the worth. The Syndicate number 2 there, 115,000. The Mugnails at number 3, 77,000. The Yakuza at number 4, 27,000, and the Illuminati at 13,000. Now, obviously, 2 allegiances over there, or alliances. Original Gangsters, the OG Alliance, and the Directorate, the Syndicate there. So the Syndicate really strong, looking very good. Now, I don't know if somebody from the Syndicate can post the recruitment page. If you want to join the Syndicate, the link is, hopefully someone will post it in the chat there. You can join the Syndicate today. In fact, I might try and put that in the video descriptions as well, so people can get access to that. I know a lot of people want to join the Syndicate, the most feared, most powerful family in the Syndicate game on both Pulsechain and BNB. So it is super powerful, and you definitely want to join up to the super powerful family and get paid. Now, obviously, if you add more value to the family, you get paid more. and the return on investment could be very, very good indeed. So definitely check that out. All right, so those are kind of the leaderboards there. The one thing I will say about on BNB is that the businesses, there's still 41 businesses available, and a lot of the high-end ones too. So definitely a lot of upside there. Pick up businesses over on there if you're buying keys. Keys are $20 on Pulsechain and BNB. So you can purchase keys and then use the keys to try and win one of these prizes. Now, just your luck of the draw, though, if you land on a business item versus landing on something else. There is Mafia as well. Still 50 million Mafia available. I think there's 38 million left on the Pulsechain side. So there's still a lot of that prizes and keys. You can win keys as well. The most famous key winner, of course, has been Lick Gaines. He won 50 keys on live stream with his very last key on the day when he was opening up keys. That's kind of the part of the myth of the game there. Myth, not so much of a myth. The myth that is true. All right, so that is the play there. And the vaults at the moment looking pretty strong. 124 BNB, $72,800 worth. So we add that to Pulsechain, we're looking at what, $283,000. So and of course we get a bit of a bounce in Pulse and BNB. We'll be finally hit that 300,000 mark once and for all. So yeah, definitely keep ticking in there. Now we do see that people are buying keys. So there is activity going over here on BNB, so we can see it in this chart. People are buying. Oh, so that's the tax man. It's people buying and selling. Where's the tax man here? So this one here. So people are certainly buying. So it's a couple $100. It's definitely slower than on the Pulsechain side, but there is activity over here on the BNB as well. All right, so that is pretty much it on those ones. You can pick that up. Now, the thing is to get a player on BNB or Pulsechain, it's only 2,000 Mafia, right? So it's pretty cheap entry to play on that. So it's pretty cheap to play Mafia, 2,000 Mafia. And it's the #1 GameFi project on Pulsechain. Let's be clear about that. And it's doing a good job. Had something like 12 influencers on Pulsechain, something like that, cover the project as well. So doing pretty good on the old influencer front. Who else? Let's have a look else here. We jump in. We've got some more comments. We got good night. See you in Discord, says Hexavator. Good night to you, Hexavator. We got Dalton Donica in the house there. Peace out to you. Welcome to the chat there. We got YesCat. Yo, yo, yo. Good to see you, YesCat. Hope you're doing well. A big shout out. So not bad. That is it on the old Mafia. Going away, going pretty strong there. So if you're in the syndicate, keep accumulating wealth in your positions. Getting the more wealth you get, the more you get paid, the stronger the family. So big shout out to everyone in the syndicate. And once again, you can join up, hit us up in the Discord for that. Now, looking at Hex, day 1700 is just finished. And we got the results out for the last 2 days. So it looks like we had for day 1699, which would have been, what did we say, day 400 and what day is it now? 441 or something. Let's have a quick look at that. Day 443, 442. Yeah, day 443, 442. We got the payouts there, 7.15 Hex per T-share and 7.11 Hex per T-share there on the Pulsechain side. Looking pretty good. The T-share rate jumped again. Look at that. 108 Hex per T-share. That share rate up to 35,577 on Hex. Wow, another big jump there. Looking at the T-shares growth there, down 4,500 T-shares, sitting at just below 9.2 million. So the T-shares is like the ownership pool, think of it like that. And the reward pool at the moment, only 789,000 penalties. Pretty low penalties the last couple of days. We did have a big one the other day at 10.5 million. Now, he got about 66 million Hex in the reward pool. That goes to the ownership pool, which is those T-share holders. Every day they get paid. Increase to 28 holders, liquid holders, down 5 miners, seeing 123,300 miners on the old Pulsechain side. Now, we haven't had Ethereum updated for ages and ages. I probably need to go to Crispy Man and have a look at his site to get some updated data on that. But for the time being, that is it. So Hex, get some Hex miners today, hex.com. Links in the video description for that. And you can find out more details in Discord if you need any help there. We do have a crypto helpline in our Discord. I think we're the only influencer channel with that crypto helpline in the Hex Pulsechain community. So definitely use that as a good resource. People helping out other people all the time, which is pretty cool. Wookie says BNB Mafia is a good time to buy. It certainly is. Certainly looking very friendly today. Picking up $1 million for $200. Come on. It's got to be a good buy. All right. Let's see. Let's wrap up here. Hope you guys enjoyed today's update. SEC versus Richard Hart, Pulsechain, PulseX, and Hex. The outlook just got better. I think the outlook just got better with that Donald Trump video. I think that really is neat. We might watch that one more time because it is such a hoot on the way out. In fact, I might play it on the way out. You can watch it then. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, hit the bell. We are streaming to over 10,500 subscribers on 3 channels: Hex Token channel, Superman Crypto, and Pulsechain X channel. And so big shout out to all the members over on each of those channels. If you haven't joined our Discord, the link's in the video description. Join up today. It is a paid Discord, $5 a month, so super cheap, but you get so much value in there. 16 cents a day, so join up today. And if you want to join Strategy Club as well, that is $35 a month, and you get hit into a private strategy club there, multi-chain, so join up to that as well. All right, take care, everybody. I will catch you again on tomorrow's show. Onwards and upwards. Sounds like my voice didn't do too bad today, and we're wrapping it up at around 55 minutes in the hour, which is pretty lucky in the old Hex space there. All right, take care, and I'll catch you again tomorrow. Bye for now.
I'm sworn in, the persecution stops and the weaponization ends against your industry. And as long as I'm in the Oval Office, Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas, do you remember? Yes, I'm an Indian. Yes, she said, I'm an Indian. Why are you an Indian? You don't look like an Indian. No, my mother told me I have high cheekbones. Oh, that's why she was an Indian. So I named her Pocahontas. Elizabeth Warren and her goons, and she's very nasty to you. She hates your people. She hates everything about you. Will keep their hands off Bitcoin. They're going to keep their hands off crypto. They're going to let it grow. We're going to let it grow. On day one, I will fire Gary Gensler and appoint a new SEC chairman. I didn't know he was that unpopular. Well, I didn't know he was that unpopular. Let me say it again. On day one, I will fire Gary Gensler. Whoa. And we'll appoint a new SEC chairman who believes America should build the future, not block the future, which is what they're doing.